My name is Savannah Lodwick, and this is my final project for Public Health 601. The data set in which the data were collected through SPSS consisted of many tests and variables gathered in a large group of men and women. The data revealed information pertinent to the study of women's health. A part of this data set was whether a participant participated in yoga or Tai Chi. I was curious if age or marital status contributed to either of these variables. To further study this theory, a logistic regression was conducted to reveal whether age correlated to yoga participation and if marital status correlated to Tai Chi participation. In a study by Cox and McMahon, age was one of the aspects studied in order to find a relationship with yoga participation. The median age of the study was 20.4, with most of the participants being in their early 20s. This correlation was statistically significant with an overall p-value of 0.01. In a study by Han Jin Son, Tai Chi participation was studied in relation to several factors, one of those being marital status. It was found that married participants partook in Tai Chi just as much as single participants. The results from this study, which utilized a chi-square analysis of the data, was statistically significant with a p-value of 0.05 for the results. In a study by Su and Lee, Tai Chi participation was studied in relation to marital status and several other factors like education and age. The authors found with a 0.001 p-value that those who were married were more likely to participate and reap the cognitive rewards of Tai Chi. However, the authors also found that more participants lived alone and were single or widowed than those who were married. After working with the study of women's health dataset all semester, I had a good feeling of what factors I wanted to look further into. I narrowed this down to 2 research questions, the first one regarding yoga and age. My first research question is as follows. Is age related to the tendency to participate in yoga through a logistic regression analysis while holding sex and marital status constant? According to the null hypothesis, there is no association between age and participation in yoga. According to the alternative hypothesis, there is an association between age and participation in yoga. The second research question that I had in mind pertained to marital status and Tai Chi participation. The second question is as follows. Is marital status related to the tendency to participate in Tai Chi through a logistic regression analysis while holding sex and age constant? According to the null hypothesis, there is no association between being married and participation in Tai Chi. According to the alternative hypothesis, there is an association between being married and participation in Tai Chi. I chose to run a logistic regression for both the research questions because the variables are dichotomous. For the first research question, the independent variables were age, marital status, and sex. The dependent variable was yoga participation. The sample size included 323 people, with more males than females. In SPSS, 0 represented the answer no to whether or not the participant was in their 20s, while 1 represented yes to whether a participant was in their 20s. The sample was chosen based on who in the dataset answered if they were in their 20s and if they participated in yoga. From there, a logistic regression was ran, and the results of the study followed. For the second research question, the independent variables were marital status, age, and sex. The dependent variable was Tai Chi participation. The sample was chosen based on participants who answered whether they were single or married and who noted that they participated in Tai Chi or who didn't. The sample size again was 323 people. In SPSS, 0 represented that the participant was single and 1 represented that they were married. From here, a logistic regression was ran and the results from the study followed. The demographics of the dataset included 138 females and 185 males for both research questions. Majority of participants were in their 20s, with 290 participants not participating in yoga and the rest of them participating. I think that health status may have been a confounding variable and affected the results of the study, so further research that takes into account the health status of participants would be more successful in finding translatable data. The odds ratio of this first question was 1.005 with a p-value of 0.6. So, Even though the data indicates that the odds of one being in their 20s and participating in yoga are high, the results aren't translatable because of the high p-value, when ideally the p-value would be less than 0.05. This can be fixed by gathering a larger sample size, thus increasing the statistical significance of the data. This makes a lot of sense since only 34 of the 323-person sample practiced yoga. The demographics for the second question remained the same as the first, with 185 males and 138 females. There were only 10 participants who practiced Tai Chi. The odds ratio for this research question was 1.46, with a significance level of 0.11. So, even though it was relevant that if a participant is married, they are more likely to participate in Tai Chi, the data does not prove to be statistically significant. A good way to fix this is to gather a larger sample size, especially because only 10 participants partook in Tai Chi. Although the sample size is large enough, I think that more studies with larger populations that partake in Tai Chi or yoga would be helpful in continuing the search for answers to the questions proposed in this presentation, and the questions proposed in the 3 journals from the introduction. Especially since there were 323 participants in both research question studies, the sample size should increase to further increase the statistical significance. More research on the positive effects of yoga at an older age should be further studied given the information from the dataset. Most of the participants that practiced yoga were in their 20s, so to further research other age groups in relation to yoga participation would open more health solution doors. Tai Chi is widely practiced in many parts of Asia, with 956 million people over the age of 24 practicing. So given how prevalent Tai Chi is in Asia, more research regarding the questions proposed in this presentation should go into finding any correlation between marital status and the practicing of Tai Chi. Tai Chi has also been known to have more cognitive function according to Su and Lee, so this should be looked into more as well. These are important solutions to the issues of low statistical significance and high p-values found in this study. Given these low statistical significances of both research questions and the high p-values, the null hypothesis cannot be rejected, and therefore there is no association between age and yoga participation, as well as marital status and Tai Chi participation. As you can see below, this is the SPSS output pertaining to question 1. All of these results were found because of the logistic regression run. This is also from question 1 output. This is the output pertaining to question 2. Again, all of this information was from the logistic regression analysis. This is the second half of that analysis for question 2. Here are my references for the entire presentation, including the literary review and the introduction.